Hey Bear, how's it going?
Pretty good. Just drinking some tea, getting a lazy start
Can
to
I
the
see
day.
that mug? Because I feel like I have the same one, but Scorpio. Yeah, I have a Scorpio version of that, I'm
And then
pretty
it says
sure.
some silly stuff about Leos on the back.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, mine's
Yeah,
not that same, but I still have like a gold black Scorpio mug. Um,
nice. Yeah, I figure
um,
solar return.
you
gotta
did you
think of
get
Leo
that
stuff.
this year or last
Yeah,
year?
a couple of months ago, I was actually with my friend Aaron at a thrift shop, and it was like $15 for a cup. That's ridiculous. And then I went back and was like, it's meant to be. It's mine. I need to
Yes,
have this for Sundays, and then also obviously solar return day.
right.
Yeah.
I got mine at a thrift shop too. So we're basically twins, but it's not my birthday.
It's not my birthday yet, but it's my solar return.
It's your
So
solar
it's time a
return.
whole weekend. Yeah.
Yes. Happy solar return,
Thank you.
Leo Stellium.
Oh yeah,
Um,
so much Leo.
but not speaking of the sun and speaking of the
No.
moon, you're
Yes.
going to be closing us out uh, for the summit on Sunday night and speaking on the
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, would you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your practice?
Yeah. So Leo Stellium, like Kirah said, my name is Bear River. I am an astrologer who's pretty steeped in intersectionality. It's something that I got a chance to speak about this year at NORWAC. So NORWAC 2020, I spoke about the intersectionality of astrology. In terms of my practice, it's pretty diverse. I've started out with a like psychological modern approach, like many of us did. Got into EA, and then as I really get rigorous in my studies, particularly in this last year, I've now studied with the School of Traditional Astrology and with Chris Brennan. So horary, Hellenistic, electional, a little modern stuff, all just about integrating and synthesizing, mixed with a little touch of personal trainer. As my early 20s, I was a personal trainer. So it's very much about just like empowerment and metaphysical workout kind of. I guess that's the best way I could say it. So metaphysical workout, and the moon is a moon ruled person. So the moon just makes so much sense to me as that access point in the same way that a personal trainer is going to look at your posture and figure out, all right, let's work on your traps. Let's loosen up those hamstrings. Let's strengthen your glutes. I look at a chart and okay, let's strengthen up that moon. Let's figure out some practices that are really going to help you bring the moon into your life and that self nurturing, self awareness, and a like on a physical, emotional level, right? The somatic body, whereas the sun's like a whole different type of thing that hopefully I'll talk about a lot next year.
Yeah, I mean, your moon ruled. The moon is your sect light. You were
Mm-hmm.
born during a full moon, which we just had your natal full moon the other,
Yeah.
like last weekend. So
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And so, yeah, let's talk about your lecture. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So the moon is the root of self empowerment. Um, I guess really comes out of my mixing a lot of my past experiences. Personal trainer. I also spent several years in AmeriCorps working with youth and mentoring. So, and as a youth, I was on the receiving end of mentoring that was really significant. So, I've been thinking a lot about the moon as in the easiest access point. I think for those who are new to astrology or those who are new to doing the astrology for and with themselves, because you get a full lap of the moon every 28 days. So, especially as I've just cleared my Saturn return and starting to get some distance and perspective from that, it's easy to think about, oh, it takes 30 years to even just start to like, okay, Saturn, I've seen all your faces. But the moon, you're constantly seeing that change. And I think it's a really, particularly because the moon is so watery, the moon is moist. Um, that sort of like water is nourishment. Water is like the building blocks of a healthy body, right? Without food, we can do all right, but without water, we're real short expiration date. So thinking about the moon as like the access to astrological water, and then thinking about how can we use astrology like diligent swim coaches or personal trainers so we can set up our clients or maybe even our friends if we're sharing astrology in that way with our community. um, how can we set it out in a way that's very systematic? One example that I've given is, with push-ups. If you can't do a full push-up, that's cool. You just do a push-up on your knees. Um, then you get to a full push-up. Then you get to, maybe a one hand. Well, one hand takes a while. You get to like push-ups with rotation, and then push-ups that are explosive with the clap. There's a systematic way. Progressive overload is the word in the personal training world. So thinking about that metaphysically. Okay, first start with look at the moon, follow the moon. Just notice what feels different for you between new and full. Cool, you got new and full, let's build in the quarters. Excellent, you got the quarters now, let's build in where's the moon active, like by house, where's the moon transiting your chart. So in that same way, just a progressive metaphysical overload, starting with the moon, I think gives somebody the best ability, the fastest way to like immerse yourself in the language, immerse yourself in your own vantage point of correlations to get that language, that somatic metaphysical memory, so to speak, to build that in a way that's self-empowerment, as opposed to, let me tell you what to do for the next 6 months, and then after 6 months, book another session. I'll tell you what to do for the next 6 months. That's definitely really valuable, and some folks prefer that. But for the ones, a lot of my clients are like, I want homework. So this is sort of my way of pulling together a lot of different perspectives to give everybody who attends some metaphysical homework.
I love that. Wow. Yeah. Well, I think people are going to get a lot out of it. Um, I've attended one of your talks before about the moon, and I took like pages and pages and pages of notes. So
Excellent.
I'm really excited for this one. I'm happy that you're going to be closing us out this week or next weekend, um, and preparing us for Moon Day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't plan it
I
like
can
that
add
or
in a little
anything.
little special Monday morning. Clever. That makes a lot of
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share with us about your practice or your talk or anything else?
Mm-hmm. I guess as I started my practice back in 2018, with that Mars Saturn conjunction in Capricorn, so very auspicious for me, but challenging, right? I've been thinking a lot about what's the one takeaway? What is the thing that I want to be able to offer somebody, whether it's through lectures, webinars, Patreon, um, a session, or otherwise? I keep coming back to the words embodiment and empowerment. For me, astrology, there are lots of different types of astrology that make sense. You might hear me talking about the planets with genders. You might hear me talking about modern planets. You might hear me taking a very, very strictly traditional Hellenistic approach. But it's because all of those things make sense in an embodied way. I don't know why it's a tongue twister. Um, all of those things, I think for me, the most powerful thing about astrology is being able to feel that and being able to be it, be in relationship with the planets. Allied Media Conference, Ari Felix and I spoke about the planets as movement ancestors. And one of the things that we really touched on is that, you know, it is about being in relationship. It's not just a one-sided thing. It's not a thing that you go get once and I've learned it and now it's a constant process of being engaged. So that's my biggest hope, is that for those who already have a relationship with the moon, that maybe will give you a few insights and tips or tricks or different ways of thinking about it. And for those who want to do astrology themselves, want to grow their astrology, that it'll be a good motivation and access point for learning how to relate and engage the moon as a ancestor, as an ally, guide, whatever makes the most sense to you.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know other people are too. So we'll see you next Sunday.
Yes, thank you, Kirah.